welcome to lesson 21. We're going to be learning about problems about equal groups. So we've done story problems about combining, story problems about separating. Now we're going to have story problems about equal groups, which means we're doing multiplication word problems. So the way that this is set up is we always have a number of groups. There's going to always be a certain amount of groups. We're going to multiply it by the number that is in each group, and then we have our total answer. So this is always going to be our setup, so we're going to look at this as we go through our 3 example problems. So starting with example 1, we have at Lincoln High School, there are 4 classes of 5th graders with 30 students in each class, quite a bit of kids. Altogether, how many students are in the 4 classes? So we have our number of groups, which are our classes. Our 4 classes is the number of groups. The number in each group we know, which is 30 students in each class. So we're going to do 4 times 30, and we are trying to find our total. So that's our unknown answer. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up vertically so that way you can see the work. 30 times 4, multiply 4 times 0, which is 0. Then I multiply 4 times 3, which is 12. So that means there are 120 5th graders. Don't forget to label. So 120 5th graders, so that's our basic story problem of multiplication. Example 2 says, the coach separated 48 players into 6 teams. So we know the number of groups. We have 6 teams. With the same number of players in each team. Did it tell us how many players that we have or how many in each group? We don't know. So we're going to have an unknown number. Times, do P for players. How many players were on each team? So that's what we're trying to find out, but we do know our total amount of players is 48. Thankfully, we're dealing with smaller numbers where I actually should know this missing number of the problem. 6 times what equals 48. Another way that that our book shows us missing multiplication numbers is if I were to write 6P equals 48. That's a multiplication problem with a missing number. So 6 times what is 48? That's actually a division problem. 48 divided by 6 is 8. So the number of players on each team is 8. I have 8 total players on each team. Example 3, Monica raked up 28 bags of leaves. It's a lot of leaves. On each trip, she could carry away 4 bags. How many trips did she take to carry away all of the bags? So looking at this problem and looking at our setup, I know the total amount. She raked up 28 bags of leaves. That's altogether the total amount. So 28 is my total amount to my multiplication problem. On each trip, she could carry away only 4 bags. So that would be the number in each group. The trips would be the number of groups that we had, the number of trips that we had. But in each group, in each trip, she carried away 4. So we are trying to figure out how many she could carry away in each bag, and I'll do 4L for leaves. That means 4 times what is 28. And I know that 4 times 7 is 28. So she could carry away 7 bags, or actually it was 7 trips. So what I always need to make sure of it says, how many trips did she take? So she made 7 trips. So that's how we set up story problems for combining problems about problems about equal groups. So number of groups, number in each group, and our total amount. Those are multiplication problems. Thank you so much for listening.